Well, hello. Cynthia Gordon, representing Whole, Women Helping Others Live Empowered. Happy Saturday. I pray that you're enjoying your day. So today I want to talk about, oh God, so much is going on. One of my sons said the other day how awful 2020 is. And so today I want to talk about leaks. I want to talk about um, all of the things that we've been experiencing this year, and we're experiencing things that maybe a bit differently because of the pandemic, because of the realization of the rest of the world that there was lots of racism going on, and all of these things that have just overwhelmed us this year. Um, well, while there has been true difficulty, um, and just from a personal perspective of things going on, when I couldn't even tell it all, but from deaths in our family to cancer scares to deaths on top of deaths on top of deaths, um, just overwhelming things at times going on. And all of these things go on. And from a Christian perspective, even for those that trust and believe in God, you still find yourself saying it's too much. So I'm certain from a perspective of someone who doesn't believe in God or that may want to challenge his existence or authority, um, or even worse, challenge his love for us, you may be saying, so where's this God at now? So, right before my meeting on Tuesday, I went to a book that I often use in our meetings, and I'll share. Um, and so it's titled Leaks. The Lord said to Job, "Do you still want to argue with the Almighty? You are God's critic, but do you have the answers?" And that's Job 40, 1 and 2. So again, the book, or this page at least, is titled Leaks. So let's dig in. Ever had a leaky faucet? If so, you may be aware that ignoring even a small leak can prove costly. When it comes to experiencing God's peace, there's another slow drip that can cost you plenty: a habit of blaming God. Some of us engage in the practice so regularly we barely notice we are doing it. Whenever something goes wrong, we ask why God allowed it. The question is asked ad nauseum in the media. Shortly after Princess Diana died in an automobile crash, Philip Yancey received a call from a television program. Can you appear on the show? The producer asked. Uh, we want you to explain how God could possibly allow such a terrible accident. Philip had his own questions. Could it have had something to do with a drunk driver going 90 miles an hour in a narrow tunnel? How exactly was God involved? Many people have publicly blamed God for mistakes they've made. A boxer by the name of Ray Boom Boom Mancini made this comment after throwing a punch that killed another boxer. Sometimes I wonder why God does the things he does. And what about the young woman who wrote to Dr. James Dobson 4 years ago, "I was dating a man and became pregnant. I was devastated. I asked, I asked God, um, why have you allowed this to happen to me?" Huh? Whatever happened to taking personal responsibility? You and I may not be guilty of such irrationality, but we may blame God for bad things that happen simply because we live in the midst of a fallen world. Blaming God is a surefire way not of experiencing more of his peace, but of draining every last drop of it from our lives. So in this, on this page, again, there's some just really craziness going on. The woman who's dating and gets pregnant and asks, how did God allow it to happen? Well, unless you're Virgin Mary, we know how babies are made. And so I think that often free will um, comes with a price, and we're not always accepting of that. Now, certainly, car accidents happen, and you're not at fault. Unfortunately, again, my family is dealing with a loss experienced from a car accident. Where the family member was not at fault. Drunk driver hit and killed her and our unborn child this week. And so you go, but God, where were you? How can this happen? 2 days after burying another niece, what's going on? But I tell you this, God is still on the throne, and he certainly loves us. We all come with an expiration date. We come with a task here on earth, a time to be here, and very clearly we don't know how long that time is. So when our loved ones leave us, we feel like, or oftentimes feel like, it's too early, or God, why? Same thing with anything that goes on, or could be going on in your life. You go, oh God, why another issue, another loss of a job, or another loss of a marriage or relationship, or cancer scare, or whatever it may be that is leaking and causing your peace to drain out. Please know and understand that, yes, God does allow things to take place in your life. Um, mm, and it's tough. I'm struggling some days. I can't even lie and say that I don't struggle. While I do have faith, I don't really necessarily question God's authority, and I surrender to his will, but it doesn't stop it from being hard. It doesn't stop sometimes where you go, oh, just not another thing, Lord. Like, why do you continually allow it to happen? Um, and unfortunately, some questions are not answerable, um, other than to say um, that his perfect will be done, that we all have work to do here, and then it's time for us to leave this place, and prayerfully that we have accepted Jesus and know that he died for us and rose again, that we too, once we leave this earthly body, we then have eternal life. That's it. So again, the topic today is what's leaking, and to acknowledge that every single leak, every single issue, every single disappointment that occurs, I pray that we put prayer and praise in that place. That even with the loss of my niece, I shared with my sister that we had 30 years with her. And because this same sister had lost a baby in childbirth, and that um, daughter, we didn't even get a moment of her breathing with us. She delivered her still, and so we did spend time holding her, but we got 30 years with my niece that passed. And while that wasn't enough for us, her work here was done. And so, all this to say, as our peace is leaking out and our situations are occurring, and they don't stop, they don't stop occurring. We do still have to pray to God to give us peace, to have it to return. The Bible says that weeping may endure for a night, but joy returns in the morning, and we just got to pray for that. Pray for that peace that surpasses all understanding. Pray for that wisdom that says, I'm going to praise you anyhow. No matter how many things go on, how many people leave this earth, I pray that we have spent good time with them, and that we got into some good trouble with them, and that we stood for what was right with them, and that we loved upon those that we have in our midst, and that we do that every day, because that's what, for me, I'm finding with all of the different challenges that I'm experiencing, that they're just giving my praise just more volume, just a more intensity, more, um, God, I see you working so much out while so many things are going on. Again, I shared with my son, no, 2020 isn't all bad, people. It isn't. We have challenges, of course we do. But didn't we in 2019, 2018? I don't know about you, but every year I've lived, there's been some challenges. And what I do know is that babies are still being born. Many of my friends have new grandchildren. I am watching children grow up. I am seeing that even with the challenges of going to school, the kids are still able to get an education. I know some awesome teachers out there. Shout out to Melody Morton, Dee Dee Satterfield. Shout out to Angela Keys. Shout out to any and everyone who is responsible for our youth, and making them better, and lifting them up. My cousin, Cherie Taylor, God, shout out to you. You know, all of you guys that are bringing it every day with all of the challenges that you're facing in order to educate our children. David Poplatek, who works with special needs children. God, I bless you guys. I pray for you guys that are still out there doing your job, even in 2020, doing your part with all of the challenges that we're facing, that there are people still out there doing their part to instill all that's needed in your children. So no, 2020 isn't all bad. People are getting promotions. People are getting new jobs. People are buying cars and painting houses and doing all these things to better themselves and their surroundings. So the devil is a liar. I will not give him my 2020. And I pray that you don't either. I pray that you know that even when times are difficult and you feel your peace leaking out, that you can say, Lord, whatever it is that you need to ask, and he's not afraid of your questions. But I pray that while you may have things going on in your life that challenge your peace, that you find a praise and you give it such volume that you drown out every piece of negativity that's trying to steal it from you. And my page does end in a prayer. Um, Father, I don't know why you allow certain tragedies to happen. Help me to stop trying to answer the unanswerable and to focus instead on how I can respond in the midst of such tragedies. That's got to be our prayer, people, that we pray to God, that we use wisdom and accept responsibility, because, and this is another Cynthiaism. I know the devil has got to be saying when we blame him for everything, some of that we got ourselves into this mess. We make conscious choices, and then we got to know that every action, there will be a reaction, there will be consequences, and we have to deal with those as well. and we have authority over our own lives to make choices. And based on the choices that we make, some of this trouble that we get into ain't so good trouble. And so we have to admit that as well. So I pray that, again, you think about whatever things uh, are going on that cause your peace to leak out, and how it is that you can apply praise, apply faith, apply prayer, and do what you can to just hold on to it. And as always, don't give up. There are challenges. 2020 has whoo, brought on challenges for us all. And I don't know what yours are. Mine have been doozies. Uh, and yes, my God, His grace is sufficient. I love you. I pray that you choose to be prayerful and praise, and that you see your way through every leak that challenges your peace with more God and more love. I love you. Have a happy Saturday on purpose.